Yo solo quiero mirar los campos, yo solo quiero cantar mi canto, pero no quiero cantar solito, yo quiero un coro de pajaritos, quiero llevar este canto amigo a quien lo pudiera necesitar.
Welcome and bienvenidos. This is our experiment, es nuestra experimentación with a group mixed between the Spanish-speaking and the English-speaking, entre los grupos de la comunidad de español e inglés, y estamos muy agradecidos de tener tanta gente venir. Muchas gracias por todo.
So we're in the process of trying to create something a bit more inclusive with the idea that we can do a lot better together than we can separate. Entonces, nuestra visión es un mundo que funciona para todos. Nuestra misión es apoyar a cada uno de nosotros y a toda la comunidad para vivir desde nuestro centro divino. Our vision is a world that works for everyone. Our mission is to support each of us and the community as a whole in living from this divine presence within. So we have an opening song, Miguel y el hijo de Miguel, Miguel and his son. I think his name is Amahik?
No,
Anamik.
Thank you. Gracias. The theme of Lake Chapala's CSL for this year is going within so we can do without. We don't have to do without. El tema de Lake Chapala, nuestro grupo de este año, es ir hacia adentro para que nada nos falte, para tenerlo todo. Y este momento, en esta semana, con estos acontecimientos en Rusia y en Ucrania, lo que parece que nos va a faltar y no queremos que así sea, es paz. Así que los invito a que nos unamos con millones de personas que en este momento están haciendo oraciones para la paz. I say that this week, with all the news in Russia and Ukraine, so we know that one of the things that we don't want to miss is peace. And I invite you all with us to join us with millions of people that are doing a vision, a prayer vision all over the world. So let's take a moment to go within for that peace that we seek. Tomemos un momento para ir dentro y sentir y buscar y encontrar esa paz que vive en nosotros. Let us feel and be peace and ask ourselves, how can I be an instrument of peace in my home? Y nos preguntamos a nosotros mismos, ¿cómo puedo ser un instrumento de paz en mi propio hogar? And we listen. Escuchamos. And I ask, how can I be an instrument of peace in my work, in my relationships, in my small world? Y me pregunto, ¿cómo puedo ser un instrumento de paz en mi propio trabajo, con mis amigos, en mis relaciones? ¿Y cómo puedo experimentar y ser paz en el mundo? How can I be peace in the world. Les invito a imaginarnos la paz como un gran manto blanco descendiendo sobre la tierra. I invite you to imagine peace as a white blanket descending upon the earth and covering everyone and softening the hearts of those in command. Y vemos esta nube, esta cobija de paz, abrigándonos y enterneciendo los corazones de aquellos que están en mando. To open our hearts, opening the hearts of all of us to be peace, to offer help and assistance to those that we can. Y abrirnos para hacer paz y para ofrecer asistencia a aquellos que lo necesitan para encontrar su paz. And let's just send the blessing to those young men, Ukrainian and Russian, fighting for something they probably don't even believe. We bless them. Y hacemos oración por los soldados rusos y ucranianos que posiblemente pelean hasta contra su voluntad. Los llenamos de amor, los bendecimos y declaramos paz en la tierra. So we declare peace on earth, and I invite you to walk and remember to be an instrument of peace wherever you are. Les recuerdo ser un instrumento de paz en donde quiera que esté. And so it is.
Solo le pido a Dios que el futuro no me sea indiferente, que la reseca muerte no me encuentre vacío y solo sin haber hecho lo suficiente. Toda la pobre inocencia de la gente.
I wish for the English speakers that they could understand the words to that song. Si fuera mi deseo de que solo lo pido a Dios, que ustedes pudieran conocer la letra de esa canción. Eso es lo que digo en español. Esa canción de muy appropriate, very appropriate song to be singing this week, especially right after Rebecca's meditation and invocation there with the being an instrument of peace. And that song is all about, help me get through this, help me get through the war, help me get through my future, and hope that I see the face of luck, and that my future and the results are not indifferent, I guess is the best way to maybe try to translate that. If any of you Spanish speakers want to jump in, go right ahead. This thing I need to get a little higher, I think. Entonces nada más estaba yo haciendo algo de traducir la letra de la canción de Solo lo pido a Dios. So I'm not sure that you saw my topic. I'm going to talk about then, now, and next. Mi tópico es acerca del tema de el pasado y ahora y lo siguiente. So when Tim asked me to speak, or no, I guess actually it was Maureen that asked me to speak. Maureen Bishop asked me to speak when I got here from the U.S. He's told me, I want you to speak about possibilities. Yeah, I would like the people in Spanish to have those. Thank you. Si hablan español y no prefiere tener algo, porque ya tengo aquí en esa hoja algo de las parábolas y las citas que entiendo en tocar. Para conservar tiempo, in order to save a little bit of time, I'm asking the people who are Spanish speaking to take a page, because I'm going to speak to you about some parables and I'm going to provide some quotes, and in the interest of time, so as maybe not to have to translate everything sequentially, I'll ask them to refer to their page and they can sort of like read along with me if I read the quote. But I kind of read the page in English. Was there a page in English that I did? Okay, thank you. We have these as little handouts for you guys as English speakers if you want to take them home later, if you care about referring to them. Entonces esa hoja es de inglés y que ustedes que hablan inglés pueden tomar uno cuando se vayan para poder llegar y traer a su casa y referir a eso más después. So what I was explaining to them is about what this page is. That it's in English for you all. If you want to pick one up at the end and take it home, it might have something. It has more in it than I'm going to be saying for sure. Entonces, para tocar el tema del pasado, ya todos acá tenemos un pasado. Más o menos así es, ¿verdad? Tenemos nuestras memorias, we have our memories, we have our past, all of us have our past. And I'm not really going to talk much about the past. Y no voy a tocar mucho al pasado porque para nosotros lo importa más es el de ahora. Because for us right now, what matters is now, not so much the past. But it kind of fit with the title of the topic and to get to the idea of talking about the possibilities. So we all can remember our past, but we have this little idea that the past is sad or happy or whatever. We're going to talk about how do we move from that. Entonces, si tu pasado era algo triste o algo feliz, de todos modos es del pasado. Y la cuestión es si podemos hacer la transición, hacer la transformación hasta ahora. So we're always in transition. We're always moving from one thing to the next in some type of transition. But are we choosing it consciously? Y de esa transición, la cuestión es que si vamos a tomar la transición con algo consciente o nos deja de pasar la vida como pasa. And we are going to talk about letting go consciously y dejando salir o soltando el pasado con conciencia. About how to let go of our past consciously and how to move that past into the present and into the future. Y para poder transformar ese pasado a nuestra ahora y nuestro futuro. So I refer you to para ustedes en español, yo les refiero a la parábola de la trapecio. So in Jack Kornfield's book, the Path with a Heart, the story he tells there about letting go is the story of the trapeze artist who is swinging up above the crowd in the circus tent or wherever and has the other trapeze to come toward him and has to make the decision, do I let go, do I grab the other trapeze, what's next in my future, what's uncertain, and stay entirely focused on that moment in the total awareness of the timing. Is this the right time to let go? Is this the wrong time to let go? Do I let that trapeze pass me? Do I grab this? But the thing that I think is important about the concept of life as a trapeze act, which is something that someone said a long time ago, compared it to a trapeze act, that we have only ourselves to look into to determine when is that right moment. Just like the trapeze artist, when is that right moment? We've been living in the last couple of years where it seems like those moments are being thrust on us. But it's really a possibility that that trapeze that's coming at us is the one that God sent. And are we ready to grab it? Entonces, de la parábola que ustedes tienen en español escrito, de nada más la cita de trapecio, que la vida se puede comparar a un acto del círculo de trapecio, que la persona que está colgando con la vara, esperando a la que sigue, la trapecia que está llegando ahí, con mucho alerta, mucho conocimiento, mucho enfoque, gracias, de cuál es la manera en que va a agarrar la otra o va a dejarla pasar para el siguiente, y cuál es su intuición, su talento, tu entrenamiento para parar o agarrar. Y yo creo que en esta época estamos experimentando mucho la posibilidad que estamos sintiendo como la vida nos está imponiendo otro trapecio. Pero es para nosotros decidir si agarramos la vara, porque puede ser que es algo que Dios nos está mandando. Es nuestra intuición que nos hace la guía. So it's easier, I felt, to do the whole story in one language or the other. We'll find out about how this experiment works later when you guys have something to tell us about how it worked out. Pero para agarrar la otra vara con conciencia. Y en este momento de soltar, de dejar soltar la vara de trapecio, está volando libre, ¿verdad? Con la intención de agarrar la otra y seguir. Y tiene la mano aquí en esto y está extendiendo para agarrar la otra. So in the moment that the trapeze artist is letting go of the bar because he's decided to grab the other one, he's flying free. Neither hand is on either trapeze. And that uncertainty, the moment of uncertainty, that he's calculated the risk-taking to grab the other bar with both hands and continue swinging out to the next trapeze or the next stand that he's going to jump onto to end the trapeze act. Entonces, cuando se agarra la otra vara con dos manos, por dos manos, es el momento de incertidumbre. Si funciona o no funciona, si puedo agarrar la vara concretamente, con mucha fuerza, y seguir hasta el siguiente trapecio, o hasta el stand en que yo voy a desmontar. Esa es la decisión que está tomando, conscientemente, con ese enfoque, con tanto de eso de la posibilidad que se caiga. So, he could fall, it could not go well, it could be different. Y en ese momento está fuera de su zona de confort, de salir de esto. So he's leaving his comfort zone for the unknown zone, the zone of the unknown, para la zona desconocida, de la zona de incertidumbre. And has to make that decision right there, letting go. So, y les invito a ustedes a tomar esa parábola, esa análoga. I invite you to take this little story and pull it into your life and consciously pay attention to how you are transitioning from one thing to the other, how you're going from the past to the beginning of now, to the beginning of the future, y cómo están ustedes en esta historia, si pertenece a la manera en que están transiciendo, que están moviendo, que están escogiendo lo que pasa en el futuro. Con tanto enfoque, con tanto incertidumbre a la misma vez. Entonces, este proceso de transición, this process of transition, en realidad es parte del proceso de transformarse. Transición es cada paso en el proceso de transformar tu vida. The transition is just a step, a piece of your whole transformation. You're taking one step at a time, transitioning from one element to the next, from one part of your life to the next, from one situation in your life to the next. But at the end of it, there is a transformational process that's going on. We're taking a different form, a different identity, a different possibility of who we might become. Entonces, en esta transformación, estamos tal vez cambiándonos mucho o poco. Tenemos otra forma, otro lugar, otra decisión, otra vida tal vez, con mucha más posibilidad que teníamos anteriormente. Esperamos en las posibilidades. Y mi celular siempre está apagándose para no tener mis notas. Entonces, eso era lo que nos pasó en el pasado. Y podemos reflexionar y ver cómo es nuestra vida. We can look at our past, no matter what the memories are you have or the feelings you have about your past. You can take that analogy, you can take that piece of the idea of the transformation and see where you've gotten to where you are today. So now let's look at the here and now. Y ahora vamos a hacer una mirada a nuestra ahora. Ahora mucha gente está limitándose según de los problemas que están afuera de ellos, del COVID, de perspectiva de guerra. Many people are limiting themselves right now because of the pandemic, how they feel about that, what they can do or can't do, what they feel they have lost. And they are sometimes feeling, depressed with the world situation that's out there right now. Y a veces hay gente que están escogiendo de sentirse muy deprimida en cuestión de cuál es la situación en todo el mundo ahora. And there was a survey that was conducted by Brigham Young University in 1920. Había una encuesta hecha por la Universidad de Brigham Young en Utah, en los Estados Unidos, en 2020. And in this survey, they discovered that 3 out of 5 Americans claimed to be lonely. And a rising number of them said that they felt misunderstood and left out. Y en esa encuesta descubrieron que 3 de 5 personas en los Estados Unidos de América dijeron que estaban sintiéndose sola. Y muchos de ellos también sintiendo mal aprendida y echado por afuera. And out of those, I think this is interesting for those of you here too that are into social media, 73% of those who were claiming to be lonely or depressed were heavy users of social media, compared to 52% of the other group that weren't quite as heavy into the social media. Y desde eso, en cuestión de la media social, 73% de la gente dijeron que estaban muy a sola. And I just invite all of us to consider that in our teachings, there is no such thing really as loneliness, because we're never alone, except when the fly comes to greet you. Nunca estamos solos hasta que viene la mosquita para sentirse conmigo. We are all one, not alone. Y no se traduce esto con igual de español, pero nunca estamos sola, porque formamos parte del universo y de toda la humanidad, que estamos siempre uno. We are always one, always one, always one. Not alone, all one. So I invite you to think about that. If you're one of those 73% or one of those group of 3 out of 5, y considerar que tal vez Dios no te había abandonado, pero tal vez que te había dejado sola para poder hacer esa jornada interna que hablaba Rebecca, que es para cuestionar a nosotros mismos. This is maybe a time that God hasn't left you abandoned. God has let you be alone in order to have the time to go inward, like Rebecca was talking about in her meditation, to spend time with yourself to figure out what's next in your world and how you really are ready to be involved in what's actually going on. So from the spiritual level, we're always one. And that oneness inside, like she said about, going within so we don't feel like we've gone without, is the name of the game. Entonces, como dijo Rebecca, es para entrar adentro de nosotros mismos, para no sentirnos que estamos echados por afuera o sentimos de afuera o estamos sacrificando algo. Y la cuestión siempre es para refinar nuestra vida. It's about having defining moments. It's about looking at the defining moments in our lives, in our past, and being willing and able maybe to reframe those things. And I want to tell you the parable of the farmer whose horse ran away. Entonces, de la parábola del granero que tuvo su caballo a escapar. The parable is something you may have heard before many times, where the farmer had a horse that ran away. And his neighbor said, "Oh, that is too bad. That's such a shame." And the farmer said, "Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll see." Right? And then the next day, the horse came back and brought a bunch of wild horses with her. And the neighbor said, "Wow, look at your luck. Your horse brought back other horses. You're rich now." And the farmer said, "Well, we'll see. Maybe yes, maybe no." And the following day, his son decided to try to break one of the horses, to ride the horse, the wild horses. Fell off the horse and broke his leg. Couldn't work on the farm now because he had the broken leg. And the neighbor came over and said, "Oh, so sorry, your son broke his leg, now he can't work. Isn't that terrible?" And the farmer says, "Well, we'll see. Maybe yes, maybe no." So the following day, the officials from the government of the country came through because there was a war starting there. It has ever been so, right? And so they were conscripting all of the able-bodied young men in the village. But the farmer's son was left behind because he had a broken leg. And the neighbor came and said, "Oh gosh, aren't you lucky? Your son didn't have to go off to war." And the farmer said, "Well, we'll see. Maybe yes, maybe no." The farmer stayed in the uncertainty of not knowing, of not claiming anything to be either wonderful or awful. Entonces, en esa parábola, el granero, el agricultor, dijo, tal vez vamos a ver. ¿Sí o no? ¿Es malo o es bueno? Él pudo quedarse con su incertidumbre en reconocer después, por ver por atrás si salió bien o salió mal. Entonces ahora para empezar de pensar en el futuro o lo siguiente. So now if we talk about reframing some of those things from the past, we look back at them like the farmer did after it's all said and done, then maybe you decide, well, was it a good thing or a bad thing? Or was it just neutral? And can you reframe it that it was neutral and let go of it like the trapeze artist? Can you just let go of it after you think about it consciously? Entonces, so that now we look at the future or the present moving into the future, transitioning into the future. I invite you to think about the possibility that you've given your life for where you are now. And to think about, was it worth it? And ponder for yourself what is next, what the possibilities are for you next, and what are you willing to give or risk of the rest of your life, to have the rest of your life as you envision it. So now is the next. In this now is when we are creating the next. And I recognize that a lot of us are in that same uncertainty about what will happen next, or what's going to come next, or what will we become next. And I brought this book with me because Maureen Bishop has been teaching from it for Dennis Merritt Jones. Este es un libro que Maureen Bishop está enseñando en clase ahora en ese centro por la vida espiritual acá, de ese libro que se llama El arte de la incertidumbre. Y él nos dijo acá algo acerca de eso de incertidumbre, que lo voy a leer. Y eso no es en tu hoja de español. Because uncertainty is our invention. It is we who give meaning and power to it, and therefore we can revoke that power as we deepen our awareness of our oneness with this expanding life force. Uncertainty will cease holding us hostage to what lies ahead in the mystery of that which is yet to be. This does not mean that the mystery will end. It means that the mystery of that which is yet to be is simply what we will become with it as it unfolds. And he has italicized the words "with it," that we become one with the uncertainty. Entonces lo que dijo él era que la incertidumbre es una invención de seres humanos. No existe en el mundo de Dios incertidumbre. Eso es la invención de nosotros, y como hemos inventado la incertidumbre, podemos revocar el poder que nos estábamos dando a la incertidumbre en nuestra vida. Y como estamos más alerta a la unificación expandiendo en nuestra fuerza de vida, la incertidumbre va a cesar, teniéndonos como reina de su poder. Y lo que nos sigue adelante va a aparecer con más claridad, y no vamos a perder el misterio de la vida, porque eso va a seguir, pero vamos a unir con eso en vez de resistirlo. Es más o menos la interpretación de esto. And Eckhart Tolle told us that we might become more aware of what the possibilities are. A number of years ago, those of you who know my idea about the English language will know that I have I like to play with words. And a number of years ago, I decided that I was neither an optimist nor a pessimist. I was a possibilist. And I continue to be a possibilist, and I invite you all to consider becoming a possibilist. Entonces les estoy explicando en español que no es mi personalidad tanto en español porque no domino el lenguaje suficiente para hacer esto, pero en inglés yo quiero hacer juegos con las palabras. Y hace unos años yo me decidí, pues ya no voy a adoptar ser optimista ni pesimista, pero voy a adoptar tener la vida de posibilista. Es palabra que inventé yo. Y les invito a considerar la posibilidad de ponerse en ese sentido también de posibilista. And Eckhart Tolle had a little quote that I wanted to give you if I can find it again in my notes here. He says, uncertainty, this is about uncertainty. He says, when you become uncomfortable with uncertainty, infinite possibilities open up in your life. And I think that is true. Elizabeth Gilbert, you remember her from Eat, Pray, Love. She said about uncertainty, the most interesting moment in a person's life can be what happens to them when all of the certainties go away. And that's the moment that the universe is offering up the invitation to them, saying, come and find me. Entonces yo creo que eso de Eckhart Tolle está en sus notas en español, pero eso de Elizabeth Gilbert dice que el momento más interesante en la vida de una persona puede ser el momento dado cuando se da cuenta de que ha salido todo de la certidumbre. Y lo que pasa cuando se da cuenta de esto es que el universo está dándoles la invitación. Ven, descubrirme. So I believe that we all can move in that direction of being the possibilist, looking at our lives in the past, looking at our lives now, and becoming more, and my phone is ringing, I'm so sorry. I have the sound off, but it's making the thing vibrate. That we have no certainty. And it's the moment to allow the universe to invite us in, to play with it, to discover what it is, discover what possibilities are there for us. And I invite you to consider that the Serenity Prayer is the one thing that we turn to God with, that I turn to God with, that gives me the faith that certainty is not necessary. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I think this is translated in the Spanish page too. De la oración de serenidad. Dame la sabiduría. So I invite you to consider, can you be like the trapeze artist? Can you let go in good consciousness? Can you pay attention? Can you be alert? Can you focus on these things? Can you stay in that moment of neutrality, of the possibility, like the farmer whose horse ran away? And can you stay focused but unattached and let go consciously like the trapeze artist into your what's next? To leave your comfort zone and move into the zone of the unknown. Entonces, les digo que estamos en este momento para tomar la decisión para nosotros, para la vida de nosotros mismos, que sería posible mucho y podemos ver todo de nuestro pasado, nuestro presente y nuestro futuro con la manera de refinarlo, de reevaluarlo, de mantener un enfoque, un alerta y todavía algo neutral, llegando al momento para aceptar cualquier posibilidad, porque sea posible que eso es lo que nos está indicando Dios, que nos sigue en nuestra vida. Mantener enfoque con el artista de trapecio y salir de su zona de confort a entrar su zona de desconocido. Y hay una cita también en tu hoja, yo creo, de André Gide acerca de esto que lo voy a decir en inglés. There was a man, a Frenchman, in the 19th century, or maybe the early part of the 20th century, who said, man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. So with our eyes that we're staying focused on, those same eyes have to leave the shore in order for us to depart, to get into that zone of the unknown. That famous quote helps us understand that we can leave that comfort zone, because many before us have, and be and do what we've never done or been before, in order to have the next part of our life be worth our lives in some way that we've never done or seen before. Entonces lo que para mí esa cita de André Gide dice que vamos a poder salir de la tierra que conocimos antes para llegar a navegar los nuevos océanos. Y vamos a poder enfocar como estamos en las varias maneras en que estamos platicando de las parábolas y seguir en el parte siguiente de nuestras vidas con el coraje, valentía de tomar nuestra vida con tanto de serio que estamos sacrificando nuestras vidas para llegar donde estamos, porque hemos sacrificado nuestras vidas para estar donde estamos en este momento, y la cuestión es que si vale la pena o no. Entonces yo les ofrezco la posibilidad de tomar los pasitos, pasito por pasito, baby steps en esto. ¿Y cómo empezamos de esto, de salir de nuestra zona de confort? We can take baby steps to get out of our comfort zone. And I suggest that tomorrow when you shower, you start off washing some different part of your body. Or you can hold your hands like this, put your thumbs over here and pass the rest of the afternoon putting the opposite thumb than the one that you're usually putting over the top, right? Para sentir su discomfort. So you can feel your uncomfortableness in a small little way that can take you maybe to the next level of thinking about, oh, I can move in the direction of that. I have the courage to do that. One nail drives out the other nail. One habit replaces another habit. Un clavo reemplaza al otro clavo. Un hábito puede reponerse en vez del otro hábito. Entonces, hay muchas posibilidades en todo eso de nuestra manera de pensar, nuestra manera de sentir, nuestra manera de ser. Y siempre acuerda de lo que nos dijo nuestro fundador de Ciencia de la Mente, Ernest Holmes. Cuando empezamos de los ojos, de salir de la tierra a los océanos. So we can remember what Ernest Holmes told us in the Science of Mind text. That always what we are looking for, we are looking with. Que siempre estamos buscando algo, pero de la manera en que estamos buscando, estamos viendo hacia ella, pero con la visión de nosotros. We are looking at the same time we're looking for. So it's a simple matter of allowing it to show up. And step into your future in those little baby steps in awe. With the fly. I am in awe of the fly, he's finding me. Y eso de la abundancia del mundo, estamos apreciando, operando desde curiosidad en vez de crítico. We're going to become more curious rather than critical about what we see. Be ye like little children, as Jesus said, for the next thing that comes up. Y yo creo, en esa manera, si estamos viendo el mundo por los ojos de Dios, que somos Dios, vamos a poder vamos a poder entrenarnos de cuál es nuestro siguiente paso. Dios nos va a enseñar. So we will see the next step. God will show us the next thing if we stay in that wonder and awe and little child kind of mentality. It will come to you. And then when you know what it is and you focus on the what, not the why or the how. Y entonces cuando sepa cuál es tu propuesto, según de la que he entrado por manera de vivir así, I suggest you get a mentor, a hero, or a champion, or all three. And you listen to the advice of your mentor, you take the actions you saw your hero take, and you allow the champion to put the safety net under you and keep encouraging you to move forward in the direction that you've chosen. Entonces, cuando ya sepa cuál es lo que van a hacer, les sugiero que encuentran un mentor, un héroe, un campeón, que escucha al consejo de su mentor, toma las acciones que ha visto, observado que hizo su héroe y dejar su campeón mantener su entusiasmo y tu pasión para todo esto en los momentos cuando se siente poquito caído. And never forget, you can make it a little bit at a time. By each day, wash something different in the shower. Thank you.
So, we know one name of the Creator is love.
Hay un nombre del Creador que es amor.
And that love is absolute,
Y ese amor es absoluto.
ever giving.
Siempre dando.
And part of that is what we call the law.
Y parte de eso es lo que llamamos nosotros
And
la
the
ley.
law knows to give to us based on what we put our attention on with feeling.
Y la ley es lo que nos da cualquier cosa que pongamos nuestra atención en esto con mucha pasión, mucho sentido.
So I invite you to close your
Y les
eyes
invito a cerrar sus ojos
and contemplate and put your attention on all the blessings you have.
y contemplar y poner su atención a todas las bendiciones que has experimentado.
Your friends, your
Sus
loved
amigos,
ones,
sus seres queridos,
the places you live,
los lugares en que se
and the Center for Spiritual Living, which reminds us that there is only one life and that life lives and breathes through us.
y reflexionar en el Centro para la Vida Espiritual y reconocer que la vida es una sola vida, esa vida vive sí mismo dentro de nosotros, o por atrás de nosotros.
And as we put our attention with gratitude, with great gratitude and
Con mucha
emotion, with
gratitud y
thanks,
emoción y gratitud,
the law salutes and
gracias.
says, yes, my beloved, it is time for more.
Y la ley nos saluda y decir,
more
sí,
for what you're grateful for.
ahora es tiempo para hacer más y más y más de lo que agradeces.
And so it is.
Y así es. Amén.
Yo solo quiero mirar los campos, yo solo quiero cantar mi canto, pero no quiero cantar solito, yo quiero un coro de pajaritos, quiero llevar este canto amigo a quien lo pudiera necesitar.
So I just invite you to close your eyes and think about the wonderful time we've had here today. Para cerrar los ojos y respirar profundamente. Take in a deep breath and let it all in. And allowing this spirit that moves through us, as us, for us, to guide, guard, and protect us as we leave here today, knowing that we are that love that Steve talked about. Y dejamos sentir el Espíritu Santo de lo que está viviendo su vida a través de nosotros, por nosotros, alrededor de nosotros. Y salimos aquí de ese lugar guiado y guardado en ese sentido del amor de Dios, porque somos amor, brindimos el amor siempre. So we are love, we shine our light of love, we surround all of those in our path with love, and we know that we are also being loved until we meet again. So it is. Amen. Y sabemos que estamos este amor y estamos amados por este amor también. Brindimos nuestro amor siempre. Y así es. Amén. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.